Alright. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Information Paralysis podcast. Here we have a podcast friend, Connor Pogue. Thank you, Connor Pogue, for being here. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
How is that location you're in? How is it like to be there?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Just took my spaceship and found this tiny little planet. It's
Oh
really
my God,
good.
man. I'm jealous. Well, I'm here with my heart. So this video is about veganism. Now, we are part of the species that is in dominion over the entire world, really, all of living life. And we can still be killed by natural catastrophes, but overall, we're in control. The thing is this is great, and it has been great for hundreds of years. We have raped the earth of all of her natural resources, and look at this, we have the ability now to communicate millions of miles away. Okay, because you're on a different planet. So we've done that.
Like billions, right?
Yeah. So we've got here by raping the earth. Now we realize it's actually kind of wrong to do that, and we don't have to anymore. And also, the earth is dying. And we are young. If you're old watching this, cool, you're going to die soon. It's okay, we're not. All right? This is our earth, So what we're doing here is we're sharing knowledge that's going to help the most powerful species become compassionate. Stop the animal holocaust that is happening. Billions of animals dying right now. Unnecessarily, because like we were just saying, I had a vegan quesadilla yesterday. Tasty. Very nice. We've got so many options. So, Connor, speak about your favourites or vegan foods that you've eaten in your life.
Oh, vegan foods.
Is there a lot of option? Is it expensive?
Oh, well, the thing is, you just gotta look for it. I just haven't really looked for too much, but I've saved a few recipes. I just haven't made them, and but there are some like really good. I've had some really good, some good food, just vegan food out there, and it's like not just like potatoes and pasta. No,
Yeah.
there's thousands and thousands of different edible, like tasty vegetables out there that humans can eat.
And also like no suffering sort of involved. And just to get the common objections out of the way at the beginning of this video, we need meat for strength and protein. The strongest animals are herbivores, elephants, hippos. And also, hippos have the biggest canine teeth. We have tiny little ones. Our incisors are bigger than our canines. Basically, the world is moving forward to a more compassionate world, species. That's the world we want to live in.
Yeah.
All right, man. So today Connor has a big document here, and speak about it. Yo.
Yeah.
It's part 2.
So in the previous video, we talked about so in this argument, there's like a few points, and they're like strong points for this whole argument. So in the previous video, we talked about them, and David might show them on the screen occasionally. So in the previous video, we talked about the points, and we talked about like the reality of the slaughterhouse and like how animals are actually treated, like a large majority of the animals in these places. And now we're kind of getting into the main juice of the argument, and that's like the implications of like what you believe and why you're committed to the immorality of eating meat. So it's like it uses like logic, and it's very easy to understand and follow.
Okay, amazing. So here we are, saviors for the animals. So begin. Sorry.
Oh, begin. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So so I'll just like give it a read and
We'll
just
comment on it.
yeah, comment in if you want. All right. So I will now offer you an argument for the immorality of eating meat based on your beliefs, point 1 through 16, as we discussed. Actually, I will offer a family of related arguments predicated on the subset of points 1 through 16. While you do not have to believe all the points we given, the more you believe, the greater the commitment to the immorality of eating meat. Okay. So your beliefs 10 through 13, points 10, 11, 12, and 13 show that you already believe that animals are capable of feeling intense pain and suffering. I don't have to prove to you that esthenalized, what's the oh gosh.
And what?
Aesthenics. Esthenized.
Oh, euthanized.
Yeah. It's where they don't give you any painkillers. Feels dumb. Anyways, so no painkillers for branding, debeaking. What's that?
Anesthetic?
Yes. So esthenized.
Fuck it. The animals
Whatever,
are dying.
dude. We all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So so we're talking about branding, tail beaking or tail docking, tooth extraction, blah, 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 all these painful things without any no painkillers or anything like that. And they're just in severe pain. So you already believe that these procedures to be extremely painful, and consequently, given the techniques and the slaughter practices above, you admit that the fact. So here's fact 1 of this argument. Virtually all commercial agriculture animals, especially factory farming, causes animals intense pain and suffering, and thus greatly increases the amount of pain and suffering in the world. Fact 1. And your belief 1, which is point 1, together entail that, other things being equal, the world would be better without animal agriculture and factory farming. It is also that, now here's fact 2, in modern society, the consumption of meat is in no way necessary for human survival. And so the pain and suffering which results from meat production is entirely unnecessary. Yeah.
Can I just cut in here?
Yeah, go for it.
Now, Connor, if you don't know Connor is an energetic wizard, right? You would say that, right? You're an energetic man.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to present you this. All this suffering, surely this is affecting like the energy of the planet and, you know?
Yeah, definitely. If you know about the 100th monkey experiment, it basically proves that like there's a collective unconscious throughout the entire world, and that like we're all connected basically. And they did this with tests in I think China or Japan. Anyway, so like if there's a bunch of animals that are suffering, we're talking a lot of animals, like
trillions,
millions, probably billions. Trillions. Okay,
because it's fish as well.
Yeah. And we can get onto the difference between millions and billions. I have a nice example for that.
Yeah, but I would like to do
that. So like this huge amount of animals that are suffering like each year, they contribute to the amount of suffering and thus like spread more because of the amount of suffering they have.
Also, like you can tell, like, what's the difference between you walking with your family along a country road. Imagine seeing a field of cows and they're all frolicking about. Do you not feel happy yourself? We all do, right? We all do. And we share that with our family, right? And that's just one moment, right? But imagine then the difference between seeing the same situation, but the cows are all like locked up and sad. And then you feel sad yourself. So this is just a micro
Yeah. Yeah, and like in the reality, they won't they don't allow like cameras or video cameras to be inside these places. It's just part of their law, like they call it their law.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. So I guess I'll continue a little bit.
Yeah.
So in modern societies, the consumption of meat is in no way necessary for human survival. And so the pain and suffering is all unnecessary. And since no one needs flesh, the inhumane treatments which farm animals are routinely subjugated to for no good reason. And so your beliefs is morally wrong and despicable to treat animals inhumanely for no good reason, which is point 12. Forces you to admit that factory farming and animal agriculture business are morally wrong and despicable. And furthermore, your belief that a world with less unnecessary suffering is better than a world with more unnecessary suffering, which is point 2, and together with fact 2 entails that the world would be a better place if there were less animal agriculture and fewer factory farming. And better still, if there were no animal agriculture and factory farming. Moreover, your belief, which is point 3, commits you to the view that factory farming is morally wrong and therefore ought not to be supported or encouraged. When one buys factory farm raised meat, they're supporting them monetarily. So you're paying someone to do this. Okay. That's how they make a living, is by doing this. So so when you're paying them, you're supporting the unnecessarily cruel practices. And the only way to avoid actively supporting factory farm outside of like going in there and saving the pigs, which is really dangerous, is to stop purchasing it.
When I made that connection, I was just like, okay, done. You know, when I made that connection where it's like, I'm supporting it just by buying it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And what else? Yeah, like in a capitalist society, we vote for how we want the world to be with our money, with every purchase.
Definitely.
Amazing is that.
And they go where the money goes. So if people are starting to buy like vegetables, the agriculture farmers might just switch over to vegetable farming, and that would just be huge.
Wow. That's like what I want to happen.
So since point 3, you have an obligation to support factory farming and stop supporting factory farming and animal agriculture, and have an obligation to be a vegetarian. Of course, these obligations are overridable. Perhaps so. This is like devil's advocate. Perhaps one can even be overridden by the fact that fulfilling them would be excessively burdensome or require enormous effort and sacrifice on one's part. Perhaps this much is clear. When one can fulfill a obligation with very little effort on one's part, thereby failing to perform any other obligation, then the obligation becomes stringently indeed. So that's basically saying like, so these obligations were like saying you have an obligation to do something. Well, if you have an obligation to do something that's very easy on your part, then it's like further enhanced. Okay.
Yeah.
But if it's like, if it requires like excessive burdensome, that's what they said. If it's like a real strain to not, you know.
Let me give a metaphor here, or like a simile. So for this situation, okay, cool. I'm a dad, and it's my responsibility to pick up my kid from school. If it's easy for me to do that, and I don't do that because I want to play Xbox, am I an asshole? There's also my wife or my girlfriend. She's running around doing errands. Am I? Yeah, we'd probably say I'm because I want to slay dragons on the screen instead of pick up my kid, right? But if I have like a physical disability where I can't drive, then no, I'm not an asshole. If I again, I probably wouldn't be given that responsibility. But
yeah, so like the easier it is, the more required you are to like agree.
Yeah.
So it's basically saying just like, it's easy, just don't pay them, just stop buying it. Okay.
It's extremely easy.
And so he kind of goes into all these extra food replacements. So example, you can eat veggie burgers instead of real hamburgers, pasta with marinara sauce instead of pasta with meat sauce, red bean and rice rather than Cajun fried chicken, et cetera, et cetera. He kind of goes on. I don't think I need to talk about all this.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But he has like a little side point about hunting, and we can get into that too. Okay. So I'll just quickly read through that.
Hunting. Let's introduce it. So hunting. Okay.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, no, that was my intro. Yeah. Hunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so he realizes that meat doesn't come from all factory farms and animal agriculture. Some comes from hunting. Hunting in itself is all sort of unnecessary pain and suffering for the animals that are killed, maimed, and wounded by bullets, shots, and arrows. Every year in the United States alone, hunters kill 175 million animals. And for animals for animals who are seriously wounded, 2 are left to die with slow, agonizing death. And then there's this big citation. And then for every deer killed by a crossbow, 21 arrows are shot, since the crossbow hunters rarely hit a vital organ. Another big citation. And then many of these animals are killed for wall trophies, but even in those cases where the animals are killed, maimed, or wounded, for the sake of obligating meat, all the pain and suffering inflicted on them is unnecessary, since no one in modern agriculturally advanced society needs to eat any kind of meat, wild or domesticated.
Yeah. And so people love to use this excuse of hunting. So like, is hunting bad? Because it's all natural, and like, at least like when they've seen the horrific Holocaust, when they've seen animal Auschwitz, they go, well, hang on, isn't it all right to kill people in the wild? Obviously not, right?
Yeah.
And so like,
yeah, just like the numbers in themselves.
Yeah.
Like 175 million animals. And then the fact that like if they're using bullets, like it's not always a clean shot, and so it's also not really any better.
And also like people go for the best animals. They kill the best animals. And they say, oh, this is all for like conservation, helping the species. Well, the thing is, when we kill the best animals, these animals are protectors. It's like us. It's like aliens coming down and killing Kanye West or fucking Michael Jordan. No, dude. To put their heads on their walls. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we kill
it's always a good analogy with the aliens.
Yeah, dude. It's such a good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so picking back up, aside from the hunting, all right, so from your beliefs, point 1, 2, and 4, it follows that we ought to do what we reasonably can do to avoid contributing to the amount of unnecessary suffering in the world. Since one thing we reasonably can do to avoid contributing to unnecessary suffering is to stop contributing to factory farming with our purchases, it follows that we ought to stop purchasing and consuming meat. Your other beliefs support the same conclusion. Point 5, a morally good person will take steps to make the world a better place, and even stronger steps to avoid making the world a worse place. And point 6, even a minimally decent person will take steps to help reduce the amount of unnecessary suffering and pain in the world if he or she could do with very little effort on their part. You also believe that you are a morally good person, which is point 7, and you are at least a minimally decent person, which is point 8. So hopefully you're a minimally decent person. As shown above, with minimal effort, you could take steps to help reduce the amount of unnecessary suffering in the world just by eating something other than meat. Accordingly, given point 6, you ought to refrain from eating flesh, and point 9, if you really are the kind of person you think you are, you will quit eating meat, opting for a cruelty-free vegetarian fare instead. Finally, animal agriculture is extremely wasteful, inefficient, environmentally devastating means of food production. A full discussion of the inefficiencies and environmental degradations associated with animal agriculture is beyond the scope of this paper, but we're going to give like 5 examples, okay? So this talks about kilocalories and how inefficient it is to make 1 pound of meat. Okay, so animal agriculture is extremely energy intensive method of food production. It takes on average 28 kilocalories of fossil energy to produce 1 kilocalorie of animal protein, compared with an average of 3.3 kilocalories of fossil fuel to produce 1 kilocalorie of grain production, making animal production on average more than 8 times less efficient than grain protein. All right, and the second one, animal production is extremely inefficient in its water usage compared to vegetable and grain production. Producing 1 kilogram of animal protein requires about 100 times more water than producing 1 kilogram of plant protein. For example, it takes 500 liters of water to grow 1 kilogram of potatoes and 900 liters of water to grow 1 kilogram of wheat, but it requires 100,000 liters of water to produce 1 kilogram of beef. And there's like citations and all this and stuff, so I'm not making this up. Hence, agriculture water usage, which currently accounts for 87% of the world's freshwater consumption. Did you get that?
Yo.
Yeah, it's animal agriculture consumes 87% of world's fresh water, okay? And it could be drastically reduced by a shift toward entirely plant-based agriculture. So like all the kids that don't have fresh water, this is where it's going. Okay.
What the fuck?
Animal agriculture is also extremely nutrient inefficient. By cycling grain through livestock to produce animal protein, we lose 90% of the grain's protein, 96% of its calories, 100% of its carbohydrates, and 100% of its fiber. Another negative byproduct of livestock industry is soil erosion. All right, so this one's interesting. I don't know too much about erosion, but it really kind of sparked some ideas. So another negative byproduct of livestock industry is soil erosion. Much of the land in the United States is devoted to fed crop production, so farms and stuff like that. 80% of the corn and 95% of the oats grown in the United States are fed to livestock. Okay, and excessive cultivation of our farmlands needed to produce these crops is responsible for the loss of 7 billion tons of topsoil each year. David Pimentel, professor of agriculture and life sciences at Cornell University, describes the magnitude of the problem as follows. Quote, during the last 40 years, nearly 1/3 of the world's farmable land has been lost by erosion and continues to be lost at a rate of more than 100 million acres per year, unquote. All right, the United States is losing soil at a rate of 13 times faster than the rate of soil formation. All right, and then the last one. So the last one's nasty. It has to do with like waste, like how much waste is produced in this.
Let's hear about it. Let's go.
So animal agriculture creates an enormous amount of hazardous waste in the form of excrement, so like pooping. U.S. livestock produces 250,000 pounds of excrement per second, resulting in 100 billion tons of unrecycled waste per year. And that has a...
How many tons?
Like 1 billion with a B tons.
What the fuck is happening? Why are we doing?
So that's coming from the book Diet of New America, page 327. There's sites for all of these statistics.
Yeah.
So we're at the 1 billion tons of unrecycled waste per year. According to the United States General Accounting Office reports, the U.S. Senate. So it's reporting about the U.S. Senate Committee of Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry. Animal waste runoff from feedlots rangeland is a significant factor in water quality, affecting about 72% of the impaired rivers and streams, 56% of the impaired lakes and 43% of the impaired estuary miles. I think that's just like actually don't know what that is.
Estuary is part of a river.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. The GAO reports found that agriculture is one of the main sources of groundwater pollution and also found among 5 general categories of pollution. Another big citation. Let's see. Agriculture is ranked number 1 cause of impaired rivers and streams and lakes. The upshot of this, animal agriculture is far and away the most resource intensive, inefficient, environmentally harmful, and ecologically unsound means of human food production, and consequently one of the easiest direct actions one can take to produce the environment and preserve resources for future generations, requiring minimal effort, is to stop eating meat, because we're just telling you to not do it. Okay. Or actually it should be easier. And we're not telling you to do anything. We're telling you to stop doing so. So anyways, and so since you believe that we have a duty to preserve the environment for future generations, which is point 15 of what you believe, and you believe we ought to minimize one's contribution towards environmental degradation, which is point 16. Your beliefs commit you to the obligatoriness of becoming a vegetarian, since doing so is a simple way to help preserve the environment. The moral of the presentation section is clear. Consistency forces you to admit that meat consumption is immoral and thus necessitates your becoming vegetarian immediately. Yeah, so that sums up the ecological impacts.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and one thing someone might be thinking is, well, hang on a minute, these are all pretty bad. But why don't we just improve the conditions and like the efficiency of this operation? Well, that's like me saying in 1940, well, let's just improve the fucking conditions of Holocaust and let's make it run better, less and more eco-friendly. It's still wrong.
Yeah, like, it's still wrong.
Not where we want to go.
Mm-hmm. So now we're gonna get like into objections. So people probably been thinking like all these like, what if this happens, or isn't this supposed to happen? What about like eating meat for health, or it's all in here. So the title is Objections and Replies, Ways Things Might Have Been But Aren't. From Fact 1 and Point 1, we inferred that, other things being equal, the world would be a better place without animal agriculture and factory farms. Perhaps other things being equal, perhaps other things are not equal. Perhaps the agony and experience by animals in factory farm is necessary from some greater good. The present section examines several ways things might have been equal but aren't. Okay, perhaps meat consumption is necessary for optimal nutrition. I mean, I don't even care about my nutrition. I would literally stop eating to be unhealthy, to stop the suffering. Okay, but some people care about themselves more than these billions of animals that are suffering, which is like, it's just that what the stage they're at in their life. So a critical premise in my argument is that counterpoint 1, the main pain and suffering which is inevitably result from meat production, are entirely unnecessary. Okay, I defend counterpoint 1 on the guards that in modern science, meat consumption is in no way necessary for human survival, and which is fact 1, and then counterpoint 1 does not follow from fact 2, since eating meat might not be necessary for some reason, which other than survival. Hence, one might object, while eating meat is not necessary for survival, it might still be necessary for humans to thrive and flourish, in which case counterpoint 1 would be false, since the pain and suffering experienced by animals would be necessary for significant human benefit. If meat consumption were necessary for humans to flourish, my argument would be seriously compromised. So let us examine the evidence. First, consider the counterexamples. Since world-class athletes competitions is one of the most grueling and physically strenuous activities in which humans can engage, one would not expect there to be a highly successful vegetarian athlete or vegetarian world record holders if meat consumptions were necessary for humans to thrive and flourish. However, the list of world-class vegetarian athletes is quite long and inclusive. Dave Scott, 6-time winner of Hawaii's Ironman triathlon. Six-toe linearies. It's like a foreign name. World record holder for the 24-hour triathlon. Eden Moses, 400-meter hurdler, defendant of the international competition for 8 straight years. Paavo Numeri, 20 world records and 9 Olympic medals. Andreas Kalling, Mr. International title in bodybuilding, and Regilly Abadly, these are interesting names. U.S. Karate Association world champion, just to name a few. This strongly suggests that eating meat is not necessarily for humans to flourish. Second, consider the disease associated with consuming meat and animal products. Heart disease, cancer, strokes, osteoporosis, diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, and obesity is documented in numerous highly regarded studies. Okay. All right. Can we take a little pause here?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, because I got to grab some water. I'm just super dry.
Yeah, so will I. Oh, man. Yo, yo, yo.
All right.
Yo, bro.
That was a lot of reading. All right, so we're still recording. Do you want to say anything before we get back into it?
Okay. Yeah, so I'll cut that out and obviously like.
Sure, yeah.
One thing, when you're reading, try look up a bit. You know?
Okay, I'll try.
Otherwise, I just got myself to look at. I'm not complaining, but yeah. So that's one thing. Also, like, I see if I can show you my song here. Listen to this. Hear it?
Oh, it's cutting. It's like cutting in and out. Nice.
Yeah. It's all like that.
Nice.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice job.
All right. Well, yeah, so veganism.
Yeah. So veganism.
Yeah, such a small, simple thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is like the health benefits.
Okay.
Like people were healthier because they were vegan or vegetarian. Yeah. But I'm going to go into more depth.
Okay, man. Yeah, remember to look up.
Okay.
We're chilling out here. It's on TV. God bless everyone.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about the health studies. So there's a few health studies that it mentions. So the Lamba-Lydon study involved over 224,000 people, found that lacto-ovo-vegetarian men who consumed eggs, dairy products, but no meat had 61% lower coronary heart disease and mortality rates than California's general population. Pure vegetarian men who consumed no animal products fared even better. The CHC mortality rate for these males was 86% lower than that of the California general population. Okay, so the next one is the ongoing Farmington Heart Study. Has been tracking the daily living and eating habits of thousands of resident farming in Massachusetts since 1984. Dr. William Castelli, director of the study for the last 15 years, maintains that based on this research, the most heart-healthy diet is a pure vegetarian diet. Perhaps vegetarians suffer from other illnesses or die from other disease earlier than their meat-eating counterparts. Not according to Dr. Castelli, the vegetarian societies of the world have been the best diets. Within our own country, they believe they have outlived the rest of us by at least 7 years. At least 7 years, yes. Okay. And they have only 10 or 15% of our heart attacks, the heart attack rates. So vegetarians, this is coming from Dr. Castelli, quotes, vegetarians not only outlive the rest of us, they also aren't prey to the other degenerative diseases such as diabetes, strokes, etc., that allow us that slow us down and make us chronologically ill. All right. The third point from Cornell, Oxford, China, health project systematically monitored the diet and lifestyle and disease patterns of 6,500 families from 65 different countries in mainland China and Taiwan. The data collected in the study led its director, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, to conclude that 80 to 90% of all the cancers can be controlled or prevented by a low-fat, 10 to 15% fat vegetarian diet.
80 to 90%.
Mm-hmm.
Of what? Sorry?
Of all cancers can be controlled or prevented.
Fucking no.
Yeah.
How many loved ones have died?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so the fourth point, the Dean Orr study, in which it was demonstrated that advanced coronary artery disease could be reversed through a combination of stress-reducing and extremely low-fat vegetarian diets, 10% fat. All patients in the study had greater than 50% steroids. I don't know that word.
Spell it out, I'll probably know it.
STENOSIS.
Stenosis?
Yeah, stenosis. Do you know what that is?
Nope.
Okay. Well, if you know, comment in the comment.
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. And one more, in one or more of the major coronary arteries, members of the experimental group participated in the stress management training and were fed 1,400 calorie diet consisting of fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, soybeans, other things like that. Controlled groups, the control groups continued their routine activities and work and home. Only after 6 weeks, an important indicator of coronary functions improved 6.4% in the experimental group, but deteriorated 1.7% in the control group. In addition, the experiment showed that a 20.5% reduction in plasma cholesterol and 91% means of reduction in the frequency of anergia. I don't know what that is. Oh, well, I'm not like a health expert, but this seems very scientific what they did. And the means of reduction of 10 pounds compared to the control group, which showed no sign or significant improvements in any of these areas. So they basically came up with this quote, which says, scientific data suggests positive relationships between a vegetarian diet and reduced risk of several chronic degenerative diseases and conditions, including obesities and coronary artery diseases, hypertension, and some other types of cancer. It is the position of the American Disease Association that appropriately planned vegetarian diets are healthy and nutritious are nutritionally adequate and provide health benefits in the prevention and treatment of certain diseases. Okay. And they also found the Journal of the American Medical Association claiming a vegetarian diet can prevent 97% of our coronary occlusions. In the light of unquote, and in the light of these findings, the physicians committee are responsible. The physicians recommend centering our diets in the new food groups. So whole grains, 5 servings a day, 2 vegetables, 3 servings a day, 3 fruits, 3 servings a day, and 4 legumes, 2 servings a day. So this is just kind of like, like how should I balance my diet? So it's not really necessary for this argument, but it gives you a lot of depth. So this one's kind of funny. It's like, so some people are like utilitarian, which they just basically says that like, if you like believe in utilitarian constructs, it says like to maximize pleasure and goodness. So like, what does that mean? That's kind of like the ultimate question and perspective. So this little paragraph about it, perhaps human gastrity pleasure outweighs animal suffering. So like perhaps the taste outweighs it. A species, a carnivore that believes in speciesism might object that I have conveniently omitted one of her pertinent beliefs. Point 17, human pleasure outweighs animal suffering. And given point 17, since humans derive gustatory pleasure from eating the flesh of non-human animals, other things are not equal. According, there is justification reason for agony, for the agony billions of farm animals are forced to endure. Taste. So remember when we talked about the cat and it was being like lit on fire? Mm-hmm. We can just say that it was bad. Okay, we don't have to like, we don't have to think about it. No. We don't have to think about that billions of animals are dying each year on one end, and then you have another end which is taste. Okay, we don't have to like think. We don't have to think. We just know that it's not the best. It's not even close to a good argument. And so yeah, there's some more health stuff.
It's not even like about health, is it? Like you said.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not really. I just want to be like decently healthy. I don't have to be like a freaking
like Conor Murphy. Shouts out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really like, it's kind of like imagine someone was eating. They were planning to eat our dog for health reasons, because protein, iron, or whatever, which they don't know that they can get in plant foods. They're trying to eat our dog. It's just like, well, it's not about your health. Like, it's about the ethics of don't eat my dog, because it's a living and it's beautiful, and I love it. I'm here with it.
Yeah.
It's not for you. You can stroke him too, right?
And it kind of goes into like the free range fantasy, which is like, what about free range animals? Aren't those like treated better? And like ultimately, no, it's not. If you've ever like looked up like what actually free ranges are, like the regulations of what free range means, it just basically means that they like live in like a small fence their whole life.
Sorry.
Like the free range means that they there's certain requirements. Say like this is free range, and you can say those words on your label or whatever. Those requirements of free ranges mean like it's like what is it? I don't have the exact so it's just like there's not really too much to even like say that it's good for them. It's like a small little fence that they live in, and it's not even like grass. So
if we applied it to humans, it would be barbaric.
Yeah. So yeah, it just kind of goes on, and I don't want to like keep reading because it's like it's just kind of long and tiresome.
Okay.
But you get the gist, right?
Yeah. So main points, like we've got other options, what's popping? I've got options. We've got options, guys.
Yeah. Like not only do you have options, but it's like healthier for you, and it like improves the world like immensely.
It's just a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, it's really a no-brainer.
It's a fucking no-brainer. Jesus. No. But yeah, like I shared in the chat, and by the way, the WhatsApp group chat will be in the comments, whoever wants to join, for veganism. So veganism and spiral dynamics. You know how I put that picture in the chat of, it was part of the Vegan 2020 documentary. It was like a girl or a woman cooking food, vegan food, and she's wearing like a crop top, and it was showing her very slim, toned body. I think that's a very good way to get this message across to definitely orange people.
Yeah, because they value like the whole
Beauty.
Physical, the material.
Yeah.
And even the argument went on. I remember, I didn't read it, but I remember it touched on like the biblical aspects too, and it disproved them. So that was interesting.
Thou shalt not kill.
What's that?
Good one. Thou shalt not kill. Usually it's quite a good.
Yeah. He quoted like some parts of the Bible and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess this kind of wraps it up because it's just kind of like tactical stuff now.
Okay, I think let's end it there. Let's get better at these ending. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you've already made the change. And it's very easy. How easy is it? It's an easy change, right?
Yeah, it's like it's just like saying no. Yeah, we're not like telling you to like go out and like spend your money. We're telling you to not spend your money.
And we're also not like going, you're bad. The thing is like good people can do bad things, but when they know that what they're doing is bad, then if they continue to do it, then they are kind of just a bit ignorant.
Yeah. So like, since you've watched this video, you know the truth, and you can't just like put your blindfold back on.
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird.
So
yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Connor. That's all.
Hopefully it helped.
Yeah. Good. Subscribe. Cool. Goodbye, everyone. Love, love, love. All right. Oh, that'll cut there.
Okay.
So yeah, I felt like that was a shorter thing there.
How long was it?
I don't even know. It doesn't say. Probably like an hour. Yeah, an hour 20.
Only hour 20.
Yeah, only, dude. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit more reading than I expected. Like
Yeah,
I reviewed like the first half, and then as I was going out, I was like, oh, this is like kind of technical now. So I didn't want to like make it sound too boring.
I think in that situation, read like a few little lines and then make a comment, and then review a few lines.
Yeah, like highlighting would have been great.
Yeah.
Taking notes and stuff. But yeah, I'll probably get better at this whole thing.
Hey, yeah, I was thinking like what we're doing here, we're both learning how to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning how to do this, and you're learning how to do that. So it's fucking awesome. We can't learn the other way.
Yeah, it's just a process.
Yeah, dude. Just like how they process animals. Yeah, man. All right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much less left of that thing is
Left of the paper. Oh, like. Well, I mean, the paper itself is like half citations, so each page doesn't really count as a page. But it goes over more free range fantasy kind of deals. Like there's more like logical, philosophical stuff. Like if you believe X and Y, then you're committed to believing Z.
Wow. Yeah.
And then yeah, just like more stuff. Like it just really goes on. And then at the end, it's nice. It gives you all the points.
Holy
like
shit.
all the
No way.
all the belief.
If you could photograph that and then send it in the chat, and then
I'll just send you a picture of that.
Yeah, I'll put it on the vid.
Maybe it oh yeah, it gives you all the 16 points. And yeah, so that's kind of cool. It's good for reference.
Yeah, what we could do, we could finish the document, make a little series.
Oh yeah, series. That'd be interesting.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it? A little playlist.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to like eventually I want to put this on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
like not the music one, but the other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I haven't really done anything with that. Just sitting there.
Yeah, dude. The first video is gonna be terrible, so just get them out of the way. That's what I would say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that wraps it up. You're still recording this.
Oh, yeah.
But it's no big deal.